Most people watched Nick Shirley's latest video and saw fake Gucci bags. I saw insurance fraud because every one of those counterfeit handbags, fake AirPods, fake sunglasses, fake watches, and fake luxury products creates a problem almost nobody talks about. What happens when those items end up on an insurance inventory after a fire, hurricane, flood, or significant water loss?
Canal Street in New York City, an infamous location where you can buy counterfeit luxury items for cheap, and it used to be just a few sellers, primarily the Chinese from Chinatown, and it wasn't that big of a deal. However, now the entire area has been taken over by African men from West Africa who came here illegally from years prior and have flooded the streets and break the law each and every single day as they defraud the American tax system and make it unsafe for women.
I'm gonna get in trouble?
And now locals have to avoid the area as these men flood these streets, and they are making tens of thousands of dollars completely tax-free. How much money does somebody make here on Canal Street selling fake Gucci?
I sell in 2 months. I make 20,000.
And as America's biggest city has become lawless, I have a history with these illegal vendors as they once jumped my cameraman and I. They then got deported allegedly and now are back on the streets committing the same crimes. And in a country where fraud is rampant and politicians keep wasting our tax dollars, it's only fair we confront and expose those that defraud the system. Welcome to the largest public counterfeit market in America.
The average person sees street vendors. Insurance professionals see something different. We see valuation risk. Because if a homeowner experiences a covered fire, theft, hurricane, or water loss, every item inside that home must be valued. And that's where things get complicated. Imagine a fire destroys a home. The homeowner submits photographs. The adjuster sees what appears to be Louis Vuitton handbags, Apple AirPods, Rolex watches, designer sunglasses, luxury electronics. The problem? The photograph doesn't always tell you whether those items were real or counterfeit. The insurance policy only owes for what was actually lost, not what somebody wishes they owned, not what a counterfeit product resembles, not what a logo says, what actually existed before the loss. And before you think this is a small problem, wait until you hear what insurance fraud costs American families every single year.
This is McDonald's. Right outside of McDonald's here, you can come get all the Gucci. Now this just goes on for blocks upon blocks. You want the fake AirPod Maxes, want the Louis Vuitton glasses, you can get everything you want here. What can we buy today? Anything?
Industry organizations estimate that property and casualty insurance fraud costs between $45 billion and $90 billion annually. Fraud appears in roughly 10% of all property and casualty claims. And while contents fraud is difficult to isolate by itself, insurers consistently identify personal property claims as one of the fastest growing fraud concerns. Every inflated inventory, every phantom item, every counterfeit product presented as authentic, every exaggerated valuation eventually gets paid for by somebody, usually the honest policyholder. How contents fraud actually works. Most people imagine insurance fraud as organized crime. The reality is usually much smaller and much more common. A legitimate claim occurs, a kitchen fire, a hurricane, a burglary, a water loss. Then somebody starts upgrading the inventory. The television becomes a better television. The purse becomes a luxury purse. The headphones become genuine Apple products. The sunglasses become designer. The receipts disappear. The memories improve. The values grow. And suddenly, a $15,000 contents claim becomes a $40,000 contents claim. That's not a documentation problem. That's fraud. How contents fraud actually works. Most people imagine insurance fraud as organized crime. The reality is usually much smaller and much more common. A legitimate claim occurs, a kitchen fire, a hurricane, a burglary, a water loss. Then somebody starts upgrading the inventory. The television becomes a better television. The purse becomes a luxury purse. The headphones become genuine Apple products. The sunglasses become designer. The receipts disappear. The memories improve. The values grow, and suddenly a $15,000 contents claim becomes a $40,000 contents claim. That's not a documentation problem. That's fraud. The lesson from Nick Shirley's video isn't really about New York. It isn't about immigration. It isn't about politics. It's about trust. Insurance only works when everyone plays by the same rules. The homeowner, the contractor, the public adjuster, the attorney, the carrier, the engineer, everyone. Because the moment fake products become real inventories, the moment exaggeration becomes normal, the moment fraud becomes acceptable, every honest policyholder starts paying the bill. Nick Shirley set out to expose counterfeit products. What he accidentally exposed was something much bigger. A reminder that every fake item has consequences long after it leaves Canal Street. Sometimes those consequences end up inside an insurance claim file. And when they do, every honest homeowner pays for it. I'm Scott Harris, CEO of NAPAICC, and this has been another episode of the NAPAICC Insider. If you enjoy real conversations about insurance, risk, fraud, and the systems that affect all of us, hit subscribe and join the discussion. Because sometimes the biggest insurance stories are hiding in places nobody thinks to look.